how to create the back piece. So right now we have the front piece ready. We'll go over to the back piece area. We'll first of all measure 1.5 inch zip allowance. Remember, we've already added zip allowance for the front, but nevertheless we're still going to go ahead and add 1.5 inch zip allowance, so that will also give it a flare effect using that same kind of zip allowance thing. So finally, by the time we're doing the zip shaping, we're going to put this fake zip allowance to use. The neck width we're using at the back is exactly ½ inch wider than that of the front. So if you're using a neck width of 2.5 in front, you use a neck width of 3 at the back. So on the shoulder, instead of measuring exactly shoulder divided by 2, you write shoulder divided by 2 plus ½ inch to make up for that extra ½ inch on that neck width. So on the chest line, you mark your shoulder divided by 2 exactly. On the bust line, you mark your round bust divided by 4 exactly. At the full length line, you mark your round bust divided by 4 plus 3 inches. That 3 inches helps you to give a flare effect. Don't forget to mark it. So right now we are done with the front and we're done with the back. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to start what we call waist shaping. So the first step in our waist shaping is to divide the round high waist by 2. So we start looking for round high waist by 2. I've measured the front to the end. So this was where we got our round high waist by 2. So we now turn to the centimeter part of the tape and measure it in centimeters. So what we got totally was 14.5 cm. So the data I want to use for front is 6 cm. So I just measured 2 cm to the left and 4 cm to the right. 2 cm towards the center, then 4 cm towards the other side, then connect with a dart like so. The reason I had to do that is to avoid taking so much dart away from the center in such a way that the center will now be too slim or shrinking so closely together. So now we're going to go ahead and mark the back dart position, which is front dart position plus 0.75 inches. So if we're using a front dart position of 3.5, the back dart position is going to be 4.5 inches. Or 4.25 inches if we're using zip plus 0.75. On my back dart on blouses, to give it a nice tightening effect, I use 2 cm to the left and 2 cm to the right. So you stop at the armhole line. Don't exceed the armhole line, don't go below the armhole line. So we're now going to extend one of our dart legs to the shoulder of the back so that we can now have it cut into pieces. If you noticed, I did a shoulder dart in front because of the bust, but at the back here now we're having a shoulder cut. So you blend it so that it doesn't give that pointy effect. You know, the back doesn't really have breast per se, so you don't want a pointy effect on it. Okay, so we've used 2, 4. So the total number of darts we've used was 10. 6 cm in front, 4 cm at the back, that's 10. But our excess was 14.5 cm. So when you do 14.5 cm minus 10 cm, you will have 4.5 cm remaining. So now we're going to divide that 4.5 cm into 2 and share it for the front and for the back. That's we're going to reduce the front and the back by half of 4.5 cm. That's 2.25 cm in front. So you're marking from the outside towards the inside like so, from outside towards the inside. Then you go ahead and connect it with your ruler. Go ahead and connect it to the full length. So if you noticed, I connected the upper one to the bust line, the other one to the hem line. So now we are done with our waist shaping. So the inner line now is now our new line. It is now the main line that we're working with. So just look for more. Okay, let me just finish the underbust shaping. So you start measuring the underbust shaping, round underbust divided by 2. So you stop at the inner line on that side, take it over here, jump over this dart now on the underbust area and continue. So whatever it is you get afterwards becomes your excess. And for this bust size I'm working with, the bust size of 34, and the person is slightly busty, I would want to use 6 cm also. So you still mark 2 cm to the left and 4 cm to the right. So you connect it straight to the nipple point. Connect, and you can see what a beauty it is. So you see, we didn't even have much excess to start sharing on the side again. It's not every time that you have excess to share on the sides. You only have excess to share on the sides if the person is really busty. But this is a medium-sized person. The essence of shading the dart is so that you will know that this dart has to be cut out eventually. So I'll measure the midpoint. I'll just find the middle. That's why I labeled this part. I had to find the middle. Okay, so I'll just take it, then connect it to the armhole with a slight curve. If you have a French curve, it will help. I hardly use French curves. My hand tends to give me what I want, so I just extend it by an extra 1 inch, then bring it back to the armhole curve so that it joins the rest. And here we are. So far we're done with the front piece for now. So I'm labeling plus 3 inches at the base of all the places that you're joining. You're joining your center front, you're labeling plus 3.5. On the upper parts, we're labeling plus 0.5. Please, for the sake of clarity, I am still going to repeat this video if you don't know how to make a shoulder darted blouse already. But then I have a video on how to make a shoulder darted blouse on my YouTube channel. I'll post the link to watch that. So plus 0.5 sewing allowance. We're not going to work with a lazy method in which you add all the sewing allowances together. No. So we'll go over to the back piece. We'll find the midpoint of this side back, like this side back. We'll find the middle of it. Okay, when you find the middle of it, you just mark it. Use a straight ruler to connect it all the way down. Then connect it all the way up, such a way that it touches your armhole. Then you give it a slight curve through your armhole. And here we are, having a very beautiful and perfect curve. Done with my hand, without an armhole curve. So you connect it this way. So this is our side back. We're adding plus 0.5. You also add plus 0.5. These are all sewing allowances, inseam allowances. At the base now, instead of adding 3 inches, I'm going to add plus 3.5 inches, plus 3.5. Anywhere there's a cut and join, I'm going to add plus 3.5 inches. So we add it all, okay, plus 0.5 all the way up, plus 3.5 inches on all the bases. So this is the side back. It's always very important that you label the side back and label the side front. Reason being that you can easily mix them up. So we're going to add sewing allowance of 2 inches to the front, starting from that innermost line, the line we use for the high waist shaping, 2 inches. Then you go ahead and connect your 2-inch line. Then you go ahead and do your side shaping. Alright, I do my side shaping by going up by 1 inch. I just go up by 1 inch, then connect it to the sewing allowance. If you want to go up by 2 inches, 3 inches, the sharper it is you want, still good for you. So now I'm going to add a sewing allowance of 3 inches at the back. Why? Because of zip shaping. So right now we are done. So I'm going over to the back to shape the zip. Remember, there is no zip at the back. So from this center line at the back, we'll extend by 0.5. We'll go in by 0.75 or 1 inch for the zip shaping to help the back to be tightened. 1 inch, let's just use 1 inch on the under bust. You do it on the under bust, you do it on the high waist. It helps you to have a better back tightening when you do it at the high waist. So you now connect it to the edge of that zip allowance line. Connect straight, then connect to the 1/2 inch line upwards. Ladies and gentlemen, we're currently done with this beautiful flare top master pattern. Like I said, this is a master pattern because it is from this pattern that we'll now start deriving other things. So we're going to do plus 0.5 plus 0.5 because in as much as there is no zip at the back, we'll still split it into pieces. So just bear it in mind like that. So just go ahead and watch me cut the front piece. Do you see how beautiful our pattern looks? As a beginner, you have to use a pencil though, because you might make certain mistakes that will require you go back to this video and look again and check again and start again, so you don't use a permanent marker so that you don't ruin your beautiful pattern yourself. So we want to shape the neckline so that it will have a tightened effect. It's so that it's not when you're done sewing it to be as if there is an excess, like an extra fullness on the neckline. We don't want that. So we're going to dart the neckline by 1/2 inch to 1 inch, but in this video I'm using only 1/2 inch to dart the neckline. So you already know the principles of basic darting, so it's just a tiny little dart. Look at what it looks like. So now I'm going to close up the darts in front. I'll close up the darts in front, then I'll redraw the shoulder line, then reconnect the shoulder divided by 2. Sorry, at the time of making this video I didn't realize that the wind was affecting my paper, so the parts where I reconnected the shoulder line is kind of blurry. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this particular part, but believe you me, you can actually use this video like this without so much repeating. So just extend the shoulder line. By the time you close up the dart, the shoulder line on the other side hides and everything, so just extend the visible shoulder line. Then you now remeasure on that shoulder line now. Okay, you can see how I'm extending it a bit. Okay, so after extending it, you now go ahead and remeasure shoulder divided by 2. Then you connect it still to your armhole. So you cut out. You cut through the armhole. Cut like so. You cut out this way. Remember that 1 inch extension on the front side piece and back side pieces, because most times while stitching there's usually a kind of shortage and we don't want that shortage, so that's why we added it. So now it is time to eliminate our dart. You can go ahead and close out the neckline, remark the neckline, as in you can close out the dart, remark, then you cut through. So always remember to cut out that side shape you have. So I'm using a marker to shade this side piece so that you know that this side piece will have to be done with a contrast material. If you want it to be as beautiful as the student's own that I shared, I mean the fair lady that was dancing and all that, you have to follow their method. So